I have no idea what's happening with my body. I had no idea. At that point, I thought I might have had cancer or something, you know. I'm holding it together strong for my brothers, but I'm freaking out on the inside, you know, because I'm like, what the f is going on with my body? So after the retreat ends, I start going to doctors. I'm like seeking help. None of them can really give me answers. So I turned to ayahuasca to give me some guidance. My YouTube fam. It's been a little minute since we talked, since we connected. I want to update you on what's been going on in my world before I get to posting content again, because yeah, it just feels like the right thing to do to share, you know. And man, it's been a lot. Hang back, chill with me for a minute. It gets wild. So yeah, if you've been following me on other social media platforms, you know what's been going on with me. If you haven't, I'm gonna fill you in here now. So over the last 2 months, I've been in the clear for about 3 weeks now. But for the last 2 months, I've been battling a pretty deadly disease called Rat Lungworm. And it's pretty inherent to a lot of tropical places like Thailand, but it's especially present here on the islands of Hawaii. Specifically, the big island of Hawaii on the east side, which is where I live. And what this disease is it's a parasite that comes from rat feces. And what happens is slugs begin to crawl and you know, do their slug thing over the top of this poop and digest it and alchemize it, and it gets into their slime. And then the slugs begin to crawl over things like lettuce, things in the garden, fruits. They get into water. I don't know how I got it, but somehow I ingested something with that parasite on it. What happens when this parasite gets into your body is it travels. It usually enters through your low spine, travels up through your spine, and they get into your brain cavity. And so for about 6 weeks is where the craziest symptoms really is how long the symptoms were in full effect. For about 6 weeks, I had parasites reproducing and living in my brain. When we talk about pain, it was a whole nother level of pain. Like, I didn't know pain could exist like that. I thought I knew something in life. I thought I knew about pain. I didn't know about pain, man. It's a whole nother level of pain. Yeah, it was frying my nervous system, my central nervous system. So it wasn't like an injury pain. It wasn't like a soreness, but it was like in your bones kind of pain, and like fire all through the nervous system, and needles and numbness, and it spread throughout my whole body, my joints, my ribs, got into my scalp skin, my shoulders and the tendons in my arms, my hands. And it was a whole nother kind of pain, man. It hurt. And so, yeah, when it first, man, I'm just gonna give y'all the whole story, man, because it's wild. When it first manifested, I was facilitating a men's retreat. Me and my brother Joshua Hathaway, we're doing men's work out here in the Big Island of Hawaii with the Rising Kings movement. Shout out Rising Kings movement. Waking up the kings, getting into our bodies, learning ourselves. We out here. But it manifested day number 2 of this retreat. And so I had to truck through this retreat, you know, serving these men and supporting them and alchemizing their pain while I'm alchemizing my own pain. And I have no idea what's happening with my body. I had no idea. At that point, I thought I might have had cancer or something, you know. I'm holding it together strong for my brothers, but I'm freaking out on the inside, you know, because I'm like, what the f is going on with my body? And so after the retreat ends, I start going to doctors. I'm like seeking help. None of them can really give me answers. And so this is where it gets crazy. I was scheduled to sit with ayahuasca before all this stuff began to take place. And I was unsure if I was going to go through with it because of all the pain I was in, but Spirit led me to sit with ayahuasca anyway. 2 nights from sundown to sunup. So I sit with the medicine, fully, purely indigenous people, and they facilitate this beautiful ceremony for us. Come on, y'all, I'm in the middle of telling a story, come on. So, they serve us the medicine, and after about an hour, the medicine hits. And sitting with ayahuasca while there is a foreign invader in your body is a trip. Ayahuasca already brings up this experience of being more deeply connected and aware of death. For me, I was extremely aware of death because I had a deadly disease in my body with a foreign entity inside of me. So at one point I closed my eyes and I began to get visions of worms and parasites and bugs crawling all throughout my insides. And I've sat with ayahuasca before, didn't have that experience. And as I'm like viewing these worms, I can feel them inside of me. And it was clear that they were inside of me. I already had a suspicion that it could possibly be Rat Lungworm because it's talked about. Everybody out here afraid of Rat Lungworm. No, nobody want to get Rat Lungworm out here. Everybody know about it. So I had a suspicion it could be that. But when the visions hit, I knew it was that. Because, I was psychically communicating with the parasites inside of me. So I'm like sitting with that all night. My first ayahuasca, the night 1 of the ceremony, and it's intense, man. I'm still in pain. Could barely walk. I'm limping. My scalp is jacked up, and just in a lot of pain. And so, But night number two is when things got crazy. So I'm sitting again, looking to go deeper, to inquire, ask the medicine, how can I support my healing process? And so I sit with the medicine again. They're singing all these ceremony songs, which is moving a lot of energy, all these prayers. And night number 2, I go into my internal world and I see the master parasite. And I've never visually seen a demon before until that night. When I closed my eyes, I was getting visions of inside this dark space of this slug-like octopus moving throughout the darkness with these giant red eyes on the side of its head. And I've never seen a red like this in my life. It was beyond red. It was like red behind red behind red behind red. It was red that I can see into, and that I could feel the red was seeing out at me. And this red was filled with so much negativity and parasitic energy. And on top of this slug's head, it had red eyes going across the top of its head like this and like this. So it had all these eyes on its head going this way, and then 2 giant eyes. And as I was looking at this thing, I could see that it was seeing me. And when I closed my eyes and I was looking at this thing, I've never felt such a visceral fear in my life. Like it was a fear that wasn't just mine. I was terrified. I was afraid for my life because I'm experiencing dying at this point, for 2 weeks not knowing what's going on. So I already got my own fear. But when I closed my eyes and I connected with the consciousness of this being, this entity, this demon, I felt the fear that it had accumulated because it feeds off of it. It's a parasite, and it was feeding off of fear. And I close my eyes, I come back out of it, I'd be like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, and I'm like, oh, I know I gotta face this thing and get a good look at it. So I close my eyes and I go back in there and I'm like looking at this thing and I'm feeling this fear as I'm connecting with its consciousness. I'm feeling this fear like building up my body. And then Spirit told me to do this mudra right here. And on the Ayahuasca experience, it told me that it's mind, body, spirit coming together, this mudra. And so I began to sit in this mudra, and the vision of the parasite begins to shift. And then I begin to see pyramids. I begin to see Egyptian pyramids and like pharaoh helms. And it was showing me what I was asking for. It was showing me the alchemization process of using mudras, breath, and gold. Like, it was showing me alchemy, and more than I can even articulate, it was giving me the vibration of being an alchemist. And so, you know, yeah, it's a super long story, man, but it's one of the wildest experiences of my life. And I felt in the ayahuasca experience, as I was with myself, I felt a doorway in my consciousness that I've never felt before. That was a doorway to death. And so, you know, here I am, like closer to death than I've ever been. Now I'm rendezvousing with these multi-dimensional space slugs and shit, feeding on my energy while having actual parasites in my body. And, you know, this was a huge alchemization process. And it just taught me so much about life, taught me so much about values, taught me so much about slowing down and surrender. It was the deepest reference point. It is alongside a couple of other really powerful psychedelic experiences I've had that I'll share more about, probably on this video, but another one. It's the deepest reference point, or the deepest reference point of surrender that I've ever had. It's a marathon of like excruciating pain and constantly finding my center amongst this energy, that's this experience, this visceral experience that wants to take me out of my center. And you know, I'm a changed man because of this experience. It's taught me how to relax on a deeper level, how to trust on a deeper level, how to surrender, receive the gift of pain. Pain is a gift. You know, for a good chunk of this experience, I was in full resistance to the pain, doing everything in my power to avoid it. I mean, yeah, every day was like a constant choice to not avoid the pain, but to feel it fully. And at some point it clicked for me that if fully received, pain it's the sensation of upgrades. If fully received, pain rearranges things inside of one's consciousness and nervous system to open up to bliss, to open up to a greater awareness. And yeah, now that I'm not in so much pain, there's a clarity here that was never here before. There's a self-acceptance here that was never here before. There is a gratitude for life, for just being normal, just having normal health, normal, okay, good health. There's a gratitude here. It taught me pain. You know, pain was my guru, like I said. Pain was my guru. And it taught me that if you can submit yourself to it, it has many gifts to offer. Pain isn't something that we can really control. Pain comes when it comes, you know. And when it comes, be ready for it. Receive that pain. Breathe in the mana of that pain. Breathe in the wisdom, the information that pain has to offer. Being in such intense pain for so long, at some point it presented to me that I don't have a choice but to surrender to it and breathe it in. Even though I wouldn't want to have that experience again, I'm happy I did have it, because it opened me up in ways that nothing else would. So that's an important aspect. But I've been dealing with that over the last couple months, and I'm still in this recovery process. I'm doing way better than I was a couple weeks ago. After all this has blown over, you know, a lot of folks experience permanent nerve damage afterwards or brain damage. Unfortunately, I think due to the way in which I responded to the experience all throughout it, I think I was able to digest the pain in a way that didn't leave me permanently damaged. I thought I was going to be permanently damaged. I was experiencing nerve damage in my hand. This hand was so weak afterwards, I couldn't even open a water bottle, you know, or open or twist doorknobs. My arm and my hand was so weak. But after sitting with another powerful medicine that I'm not going to get into right now, I was able to shift my consciousness and receive healing vibrations. And so now yesterday for the first time I did 10 pull-ups, you know, and so I feel super blessed to be able to get back in my body and to have made it through this. But I just want to update y'all, man, and share a little bit about of my world, you know, and there's so many things that I've learned from this experience, and probably 90% of them can't be articulated, but can be transmitted through my energy. But the 10% that I can articulate, I will, and I'll share with y'all. You know, I think it's important to receive each other's experiences so we can all grow together, you know, and my intention is to share with y'all some of the more meaningful ones that I've had, and I've had a lot of them this year, this being one of the biggest ones. And yeah, just to kick things back off on this channel, you know, and to get the ball rolling so we can continue to spiral up together. So if you found this interesting or if you're just happy to see me, show some love in the comments below, hit that like button, and yeah, we got a whole lot to talk about. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Aloha.